Oh, hello, everyone, and welcome here to the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, recorded at Davison Hall every Tuesday from noon to 1, heard back on ESPN New Hampshire Radio and ESPNNewHampshire.com every Tuesday from 5:30 to 6:30. A basketball hour over the next 60 minutes. Head coach Keith Dickson on the men's side, women's head coach in the second half hour, Julie Plant, and players Mike McCahey and senior Kierra Moore. So we're looking forward to another fun topic. And it's fun again, Coach, because your team back on the winning track. The men's team have won 3 in a row after dropping 2 of the first 3, winning at home, winning on the road. Seems like your guys are starting to gel a little bit better, or what's been the story lately?
I would agree with that. I mean, we haven't played for a little while, but things are always better when you win than when you lose. So we're coming off break and just really now trying to get our legs back under us to make sure we're ready for St. Michael's tomorrow night.
Was it a case of your guys just weren't maybe ready for the beginning of the regular season and have now gotten back kind of into the custom of things? Or what was, looking back, I guess, the cause for the slow start the first 2-3 games of the year?
Well, I would hate to believe we weren't ready for the beginning of the season. That would be a very poor reflection on our program. So I'm not going to say that. I'm saying it's sports, man.
Yeah.
The other team wants to win too, and I think really what's happened to our group, is maybe we took a little bit for granted that we were going to just start the way that we finished or the way that we played last year. And that's not the way it works in sports. You build each team from the beginning of that season. And honestly, we really haven't played that well on one end of the floor. I'm not disappointed in what we're doing on offense. I think we're still a little off to where this group is going to be. But, Nick, it's a long season and you're building your team to be playing their best basketball in February and March. So, hopefully we can get ourselves together. I develop a 8 or 9 man rotation. We develop our depth. We build our team the way we want to build it. And, when all the chips are on the table, then we're playing our best. So it's not unlike a lot of other years, man. You got to fight your way and slog your way through the season. And I think our side of the league is very good.
Well, you're 4-2 after 6 games, and you're right. It seems like looking at the offensive numbers, everything's where it's expected to be. You got Dino, a 3-to-1 ratio, assist to turnovers. You got McCahey coming on at 19 points per game, a team high. You're shooting well from beyond the three-point arc, and you're up over 93 points per game.
Yeah, I think our offensive numbers are actually higher than they will be. I don't think when we get in league play we're going to continue to score at 95 points a game. It's just too high. And possessions are limited. Some of the other teams we'll play will try to limit our possessions. So I think both of them will come down. Our offense is a little high and our defensive numbers are a little high. But we certainly have things to fix, and really the message that we've said to the kids is, until we can get ourselves really back on track, we just have to fight our way through and try to win as many games as we can till we put performances together that we're proud of, that are championship caliber performances, which I'm not really sure we've done that yet, but we'll fight our way through it. We've got a good group of kids.
Keith Dickson, men's basketball coach, joining us here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. The team off to a 4-2 start, and of course are in action at home tomorrow night against St. Michael's. Anything a pleasant surprise so far for the first month or so?
Sure, yeah. I'd say the 2 guys that have probably played our most consistent basketball are John Nielsen, who's just been terrific, and Dominic Borelli, who's been as consistent a player as we've had. He's really played, and that's been Dom's problem, I think, through his first 3 years. He's been just so wildly inconsistent that he was hard to count on. And he's really done a great job for 6 games. He didn't play great against Assumption, but I'd say the other 5 were just terrific. And Neil has
in a new role as well.
Yeah, in the role he was in when he was a freshman and a sophomore. To be quite honest with you, he's coming off the bench. He's solidified our defense. I think he's rebounded the ball well. He's finished around the rim. He's not going outside of what he should be doing. And he's in a very valuable role right now because I'd say, Santo has not played up to his capabilities yet, and we've really needed Dom. And Neil has been he's playing. This is, I think, the kind of player we thought we had when we recruited John Nielsen. He's a great shooter. He's not just a good shooter. Yeah. And he's finally playing with enough confidence to take the shots and believe that everyone's going in. And I think that's a big part with playing offense. It's like we want to play offense free and easy, and I don't think you can play it tight and hesitant. And John has finally got to the point where I think he's taking the shots with conviction, and he's just, through all the years I've been recruiting, he's one of the greatest prep school and high school shooters I ever saw. So I'm actually just happy for John that he's finally putting into practice what we knew he was capable of doing in the games.
Yeah, he's always been a pretty good shooter when he's been on the floor, and a smart player, I think, as well.
Yeah, Neil is what Neil is, but I don't think people that have just watched our games have seen what he's capable of doing. And if you talk to the current or former players in our program, like when in the fall and the spring and the summer, when John gets it going, he might make 10, 11 in a row, and you never saw that in the games. Well, now you're seeing, John has made multiple games where he's probably made 3 or 4 in a row, and now the people in the stands, when he shoots, you think he's never going to miss.
Is that just experience for him?
I think it's just confidence, to tell you the truth, and maturity. John has grown up a little bit. He's a senior now.
Right.
It's his last shot at it. When James left, I think John saw that opportunity as his spot. And I think when you're confident about your minutes and your spot, that you're not going to get taken out if you miss a shot. I just think that all plays into it.
Yeah.
I think his numbers are higher than they will be. They're a little. I don't know if anybody can stay above.
He's at nearly 60%
from behind
downtown.
the line.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's probably there'll be a market correction on that at some point, and he's doing enough other things for us that we understand that, and he'll be in this lineup through the season. So I'm really happy for John. He's done a terrific job.
Yes, continuing with Nielsen on the defensive end as well. You said he had made some improvements the last time we spoke 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, John's. He's not breaking down. Let's put it that way. Like John is a average defender in this league. So his first couple of years, he was not even that. And we're hoping, because John is, it's not like he just doesn't rebound a lot or he doesn't steal it a lot usually. Because we missed that part with James being gone.
Right.
James Morris was him and Dino were our playmakers on defense, and Dino's not doing as much this year. And we're hoping that, Mark Schultz and Victor Joshua can give us the activity from the perimeter that we're missing without James. And then Neil sort of slots in where he's a much more productive offensive basketball player than I think James was. So, maybe that's why we're scoring 93 and giving up 80.
Makes sense. Coach Keith Dickson joining us here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, getting set for St. Michael's tomorrow night and recapping so far a 4-2 start for the year. We're going to talk with Mike McCahey, who is now the team's leading scorer at just over 19 points per game. The sophomore, of course, was the best freshman in the Northeast 10 Conference a season ago. What about Mike so far?
Michael McCahey is a great player. I mean, it's very rare you find a kid that plays both ends. He rebounds both backboards. He's got no ego. He's completely devoted to the group. And it's funny, as we're thinking about recruiting moving forward, and some of the great players I've had is, like, I think Mike really makes this group go. He's hard to get off the court. He doesn't foul a lot, and our team seems to function better when Mike's in the game. I think he's got off to a terrific start, both offensively and, I think he stumbled defensively early in the year where we've really always counted on Mike on that end, and I think he's back to playing the way that he's capable of playing on that end. But, if you can find me a better forward in the Northeast 10 right now than Mike McCahey, I don't know who it is.
Right. I mean, the numbers are right there. 19 and 8 on the defensive end. He's giving you 33 minutes. He's shooting the ball well from the outside. And it seems like he's taken that next step from freshman to sophomore.
Yeah, he really has. It's he went home after the season and worked on some of the things he wasn't that good at. And, now we feel very comfortable. If they want to play him small, we can get him around the rim, and he knows what to do with the ball. He's improved his dribbling to the point where he can get it on the floor and go by 4 men. I've always thought there's another improvement in his pass playmaking, which I think he's ready to take a step to handle. But I think it's the other parts of the game that people don't see that make Mike so valuable. So you can look at his numbers and everybody can say, wow, he's a great player because he's scoring 20, because he's rebounding 8 a game. And I'm going to say it's not that. It's because he moves the ball, because he communicates in conversion, because he makes up for other people's mistakes, because while the other guys are in foul trouble, he never is. So
right.
You can always count on him. He reminds me so much of Jimmy Moore when Jimmy was here. It was like it wasn't just his numbers, it was everything else. And I look at Mike the same way. Mike's still early in his career and at the beginning of what we think is going to be a long career, but the amount of respect and admiration I have for Mike, what he's done through a year and 6 games, is a little unusual for a coach to feel that way about such a young player.
Strong stuff here from Keith Dickson, the men's basketball coach. They will face St. Mike's tomorrow night at home, 7:30 tip. They try and extend the the winning streak to 4 games. Coach, your team, as we know, started 1-2. I saw your son Brett over the weekend. He said during that losing streak, hard to get a hold of you on the phone. Hopefully everything's back even-keeled again, right?
Yeah, well, if he was smart, he'd stop trying to get a hold of me on the phone when we lost 2 out of 3. So, I mean, my son is a very bright guy, but he really should stop texting and calling me when we're not winning.
What about St. Mike's tomorrow night?
Very good. I've said to our guys, St. Mike's has been a problem for the last couple of years, and they've just lost so many close games. But I think they think this is their time now. They're all juniors. They've played a lot of basketball in this league. They've recruited some kids to improve their depth. And they're 6-1. Now they're winning those close games,
right.
And so we've got our hands full. They're not easy to score on. They're very athletic.
Are they playing any differently from a year ago with a new coach?
They're playing a little more wide open on offense. They've changed their coaching staff.
Right.
So Mike Harding's gone, and Josh is their new coach. So they're playing a little bit more wide open on offense, I'd say. But I'd say fundamentally they're still the same. They're built on their defense and their rebounding. They take time on offense, so there's not a lot of possessions. I'd be surprised if this was a 102-96 game.
Right.
We beat them twice last year, but in the first game we beat them 62-61. In the second game, I think it was like 74-56. So, there's a premium on each offensive possession. We can't give possessions away. We have to approach the game correctly. And I think we're going to be in for a dogfight. Their mindset, they're more mature now. They think they're good, and that goes a long way into practice, I think. So, we've had a couple of really good days of practice, and hopefully we can prep well today. And like I said, we've got them, then we have Pierce, then we have Stonehill before finals. So there's really nothing easy on our side of the lineup.
I want to go back to the home versus away conversation that we had, I think, a year ago. I mean, everybody seems like they play better at home. It seems obvious. But you guys over the years have had a distinct advantage at Stoutenburg Gymnasium. What do you attribute that to?
I think it's a very tough place to play for our opponents. When we have any kind of crowd in that gym,
it's loud.
It's loud. So say you have 800 people, it really sounds like there's 4,000 people in there. And we've just always taken care of home court. I mean, over the course of my career, we've always been good at home.
Right.
And I think that's the key in this league. The year in and year out, you should always hold serve at home. And the difference is, what kind of group do you have when you go on the bus and travel, put on your blue uniforms? Can you win on the road? Some teams can do it and some teams can't. And I thought last year we put a group together that was we were real good at home. I think we lost one regular season game, I think, and then lost to Pierce in the playoffs. But our group last year got on the bus, went and played people, and we were very mature and focused on the road. And at home, I think it's just a little easier to be like that.
Yeah.
You have your fans, you're more comfortable in your environment, and we have our history too. Our kids are very confident in Stoutenburg, and we think we're going to win.
Yeah, and it has been a consistent turnout from the student section as well, which helps out, obviously, as you mentioned. So tomorrow night, St. Michael's, and then on the road at Franklin Pierce, a 3:30 game Saturday. Kind of a new rivalry, I suppose, over the last few years since Pierce has really taken that next step. I know you want to look one game at a time, but this seems like a pretty good week, or as big, I guess, as December weeks can get.
Yeah, big week. We know St. Michael's, I think, is going to sustain this, and they'll be near the top of our division. And obviously, Pierce is, I think, the team to beat in our league. Yeah, and at Pierce, it's funny. We beat Pierce at our place early last year and sort of established ourselves. And then I remember we showed up at Pierce, and one of their older guys goes to one of our guys, is like, "You're not ready for this." And we were like, "Okay, well, we'll see." And we weren't. We weren't. Their back was against the wall. They have a very tough group of older kids. And we weren't quite ready to go in their building and beat them. Oh, it's okay. I mean, that happens. And, now we'll see. We're a year older. They're good again. We're good. And, if they say to us this year, they're going to punk us again and say we're not ready, I'll be a little bit surprised. We might get beat, but we'll be ready. So I think you're right. For an early December matchup, that's a pretty interesting game this early in the season.
And you get the back half, the home and home, later in the year as well, which is preferable or not?
I don't know. I would say so. I'd say, we're both sort of feeling our way around now, and
right.
It'd be great to go there and get it and know that we've got them coming to our place. So,
right.
This is a big week for the Hawks. It really is. So we'll see what we can do with it.
St. Michael's tomorrow night, 7:30 is the tip at Stoutenburg Gymnasium. Coach, thanks a lot. Pleasurable as always.
It's my pleasure, Nicky. You know that.
And we'll talk next week. That is head coach Keith Dickson, longtime men's basketball head coach, joining us on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Always is truthful, and we appreciate it as usual. All right, Mike McCahey making his way up. McCahey has had an outstanding start to the sophomores campaign. He's one of the leading scorers in the conference. He is the top scorer right now on the roster at over 19 points per game. Also leading the way on the glass with a team-high 8 rebounds. He was the Rookie of the Year a year ago as a freshman, and he joins me now to my right. Mike, how are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
How was the holiday?
Good.
You go back to New York for
I went back for
a
a few days. Yeah.
Okay.
Got a little break.
A little refresher.
Yep.
That's not going to stop the momentum, though, seemingly, right? You won 3 in a row now.
We've practiced for a few days now, getting our legs back, so I think we'll be ready for tomorrow.
Is it a case where maybe you guys just kind of felt your way through the first 2 or 3 games and are now hitting the stride?
Yeah, we definitely learned early that we got to go into every game just completely focused. We definitely got a little heads up that every game is going to be really tough. We can't go out and just beat anybody without being completely focused, so we learned that early, though.
You were very good last year in a number of categories. What did you work on in the summer to add to those skills?
Yeah, well, I had a meeting with Coach at the end of the year, and he talked to me about what he wanted me to improve, how I needed to improve my post game, and if I can handle the ball a lot better around the perimeter, it would definitely help my game. So I went home and tried to work on that. I think I improved
Those are 2 kind of different areas, huh?
Yeah. Well, the more versatile I can be, the better player I can be.
What'd you do to improve the post, the back-to-the-basket game?
I just worked out a lot, just worked on certain moves and stuff, got my confidence up, a lot more confident down there now.
Mike McCahey joining us. He hails from the state of New York. And it's funny, actually, Mike, a guy on my 30 and over league, my rec league team, is from your hometown.
Really?
And he's a player himself. He used to play for Keene and follows you a little bit. He went, I guess, I'm not sure if it's the same high school. You went to the South, right?
Clarkside South.
Clarkside South. I'm not sure if it's the same high school, but must be something in the water up there in New York because he's a very good shooter, particularly, and that seems to be a strong suit of your game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big basketball area, so there's a lot of
Is
players.
basketball big in the town?
Yeah.
I would imagine. How'd you get your start, and how'd you end up here at St. Ace?
Well, I was just playing AAU, trying to talk to coaches, see where I liked it, and Coach Dickson and Coach Jimmy Moore at the time contacted me.
They said they kind of stumbled onto you.
Yeah, I guess they showed up to one of my AAU games, saw me, they were interested. Coach Jimmy Moore gave me a call, and they had me come up for a visit. I really liked it here. I thought I'd fit in a lot with the team. I loved the program and how they ran things around here, and it was definitely a good fit.
Last year, you kind of fit in right away on a good team. Your starting starting power forward on a team that was nationally ranked at the end of the season, were the regular season champs, and you end up amongst the league leaders in a number of categories in the conference, win the Rookie of the Year award. Any of that expected at all? I mean, that's quite a first year for you to just kind of roll up and have that kind of success.
Yeah, well, my teammates and coaches made that a lot easier for me. I played with a lot of great players last year. Our team really clicked. We had a lot of talent on our team, so it opened everything up. And Coach Dickson gave me a shot, and my teammates they helped me succeed.
Anything different for you at all as a sophomore now? Are you maybe a little bit more vocal now that you've been around for a little while?
Yeah, I knew I had to improve my leadership. We lost one of our captains last year, James Morris, who controlled a lot, especially on defense. So I knew, especially since I was getting older now, I was going to have to start becoming more vocal and showing a little more leadership out in the court.
Mike McCahey joining us, 19 points, 8 rebounds per game, the reigning Rookie of the Year, but looking for more in his sophomore season. And again, the team doing well as well, 4-2. They won 3 in a row, and a tough one tomorrow night, as Coach said, against St. Michael's. Kind of surprising they're 6-1 and off to such a hot start. What do you guys know so far?
Yeah, St. Mike's a tough team. We had a really tough game against them last year. They got a lot of size. They're a smart team. They've had a good program in the past, so it's going to be a tough game.
Do you adjust the game plan based on sometimes the personnel, or it's more so you just play your game and they'll adjust?
Mainly we try to just focus on ourselves. We try to play how we play. We got to do certain things depending on what the other team has.
Like tomorrow, for instance, them being a little bit bigger, are there adjustments made in that regard?
Yeah, we have small adjustments as far as defense and stuff. As far as offense, we just play our game. We worry about ourselves, work together. On defense, we'll have a little adjustments, but we still usually stick to our system and just play how we play.
Any room for improvement here? I mean, obviously you can always get better, but what would you like to see from a personal standpoint improve between now and, let's say, February?
Well, me personally, I definitely got to step it up on defense. I think I haven't played to my full potential on defense, and as a team, I don't think we've been starting to click a little better lately than we were in the beginning of the year, but I still think we have a lot of improvement, and I don't think we've played to our full potential that we can be playing at yet, but I think we'll get there.
What has been the difference over the last 3 games since the 1-2 start? You won 3 in a row.
We've been just coming into the game more focused, I think. We realized early that you can't just walk through anybody. Every single game of the year is going to be a tough game. Every team wants to win. So I think we focused a little better, really locked in on defense a little more, but I still think we got to lock in a little more and keep improving.
How do you like playing for Coach Dickson?
I love it. Yeah, I love how he does things. His system is perfect system, I think, for myself.
Seems like it, for sure. Yeah, he always had players about your size that were versatile and were smart basketball players overall. That's a pretty good description of yourself on the floor?
Yeah, I think so. He likes players that can make plays for himself and that are smart and know what they're doing out there, and I think we have a lot of guys like that and a lot of talent on our team.
Good stuff. Mike, best of luck tomorrow night and the rest of the year as well. That's Mike McCahey, the outstanding sophomore power forward on the men's basketball side. 19 points per game and off to a great start. We thank him for joining us on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. It's all being brought to you, of course, by Saint Anselm College. They feature 20 NCAA Division II programs, most of which compete in the highly competitive Northeast 10 Conference. With over 100 home events this season, there are plenty of chances to catch the Hawks in action. If you can't make it to the game, you can log on to SaintAnselmHawks.com and follow along with free live stats of every home contest, or better yet, be sure to check out SaintAnselmHawks.tv for the live video broadcasts of every football, basketball, and hockey game, as well as other select events throughout the year. We thank Coach Dickson and Mike McCahey for joining us. On the other side, we flip the switch and talk women's basketball with the head coach, Julie Plant, and senior guard, Kierra Moore. That's a team that has made a lot of strides early in the year. 5-4 to begin the season, and looking for more. We'll find out what the key to success has been with Coach Julie Plant right here next when we come back on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. Oh, back here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, heard every Tuesday, 5:30 to 6:30 on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com, 900 and 1250 on the AM dial and online at ESPNNewHampshire.com. Special thanks to Keith Dickson and Mike McCahey for joining me earlier from the men's basketball team. They are in action tomorrow at home, 7:30 against St. Mike's. And at 5:30, before that, the women will take on St. Michael's as well. That program looks night and day different from what I've heard. I haven't seen a game yet, but head coach Julie Plant, who had inherited a team with a losing record, has turned the corner, 5-4 over the first 9, including a blowout win the last time out, which was Sunday against Concordia in the 49th annual ESU Classic. Coach, you happy about the start at 5-4?
Anytime you have a winning record in your season, you have to be happy. I think our kids have worked really hard. We've overcome a lot of adversity and started to really come together. So it's been good. It's been a challenge, but our seniors are finding and trying to figure out, the best way to continue to lead us. So yeah, it's been good so far.
How have you enjoyed it?
It's been a really good learning experience for me as a coach, and being in charge of a full staff and a lot of players. I don't traditionally have 15 players on my team, so that's its own challenge in itself.
Right.
But the kids have worked really, really hard with learning a lot of new concepts and trying to execute a lot of new stuff. So we've had our growing pains. We've had some learning curves, and we're hopefully after this weekend, our learning curve is going to start to really go up and show even more progress.
I mean, the team is putting up nearly 70 a game. I mean, that itself is pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have kids who can score. We
Right.
really do. We have a good, strong backcourt. We've got a couple good shooters. Our post play is tough. We're pretty versatile. We can play small. We can play big. So we can cause matchup problems for other teams. Would I wish that we could shoot the ball a little bit more efficiently? Yeah, but we've done a good job attacking the basket and getting to the free throw line too. So that's helped with keeping our scoring average up.
Julie Plant, first-year head coach of the women's basketball team, joining us. Hawks 5-4 out the gate and off to a good start. The last time we spoke 2 or 3 weeks ago, you said defensively you were still waiting for a little bit of progress, that they were still learning some of the concepts defensively. Where are they at now, about a month in?
It's still a work in progress. We struggle with some pretty specific things. I think we understand what our weaknesses are in our defense, and we're working hard to try to remedy them. And most specifically with screening action, we have a tough time guarding a lot of screening action. But our kids
is that a communication thing on the floor?
I think that's part of it, and I think it's an execution thing. We're asking them to do a couple specific things with a couple specific types of screens, and sometimes we'll do it right, sometimes we won't. When we don't execute, it's just kind of unfortunate. It's bit us in the butt every single time we haven't executed it the right way. So it's a work in progress. The kids are really they're on board and they're trying. So I think it's just more repetition and us playing together more with all these new concepts. we'll turn the corner a little bit more with it.
And how has the rotation gone? Again, you mentioned 15 players is tough. I guess it does present some positives, though, because you have a little bit more depth to work with.
Yeah, it's true. I think I'm still trying to figure out the best rotation for our team to be successful. We've gone with an 8-man. One game we went with a 7-man. Our last couple games we've played 9. In our last game we played everyone, which was really fortunate. And our subgroup actually, did a really good job giving us a huge boost in the first half of that Concordia game. So I honestly, it's still a work in progress. I'm still trying to figure out the best rotations for us to be successful.
You've had some players who have gotten off to some pretty good starts early on, including senior guard Meg Morrissey. We talked about her before the season had started. You expected big things, and it seems like she's responded through 9 starts and 32 minutes per game, up over 9 points per game, and shooting the ball well from downtown and at the free throw line.
Yeah, she's been a huge scoring lift for us early in the season. And teams are starting to make a few adjustments on her, coming out and playing her a little bit harder on the perimeter. She had a tough weekend this weekend, didn't probably score as much as she would have liked. But the thing that I love about Meg is she just plays hard, no matter how she's doing offensively, no matter what's going on with the team. Like, she's always defensively, doing everything she can possibly do. So regardless of whether she's scoring or not, she's always contributing. So I've been really pleased with her in that aspect as well.
Yeah, it seems like she's one of your better ball handlers, too. Yeah. And I thought she was always very good against the press, particularly. Yeah. So it seems like she's been kind of a rock in the backcourt, along with Candace Andrews, the freshman. So you got a senior and a freshman who have both started, and Candace a double-digit scorer so far. Of course, she was highly touted coming in. Has she met your expectations through 9 games?
I think she has, and I mean that in the way that she's come and played hard and listened and been coachable from the very, very beginning. I think it's always tough coming into your first collegiate situation as a freshman, and she's had her learning curves and like understanding. You have to play a little bit differently on the road than you do at home, and understanding time and score situations and shot selection and things like that. Is she better than what she's doing now? Absolutely, and she's going to continue to get better and better every day. She actually had a kind of a breakthrough against Concordia. She pushed through some adversity, pushed a little bit through an injury, and started to really score the ball and did it on the defensive end.
Showed some toughness too.
Yeah, some real toughness. So I think if she can continue to do that and really dig deep, she's going to be a really special player in the women's basketball program.
Well, it seems like she's got the typical basketball makeup, the long arms. She's, I guess, versatile in a number of areas from what I understand. That's got to be good as a coach, a first-year coach as well, to kind of grow with her and maybe develop her, in ways that she might not have had if she were at another school.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she is going to continue to get so much better as she improves her outside scoring. She has a really good jump shot off the dribble, and she can create her own shot against good defenders. As she was able to create her own shot against Merrimack, we do a couple isolation plays for her and got a couple easy scores. So she's going to continue to get tougher and tougher.
Head coach Julie Plant joining us, talking women's basketball. They are against St. Michael's tomorrow night, hosting St. Mike's at Stoutenburg at 5:30. We'll hear from senior guard Kierra Moore in just a moment. Speaking of Kierra, one of the leaders on the team, I assume, as an upperclassman.
Absolutely.
How has she fit into this rotation on the floor so far?
I think she's fit in really well. She comes in usually our first rotation off the bench. She's hit a couple big threes in our last couple games, stepping in, giving us a huge offensive spark right away off the bench. And Keith's been a pretty steady defender too. She's picked up our concepts really well. She's had a few hiccups here and there, but I think all in all, she's good footwork. She communicates on the floor, so no, she's been great on our first sub rotation. She had to start a couple games too, and she did a good job with that. So she's kind of filling both roles when we need her to, and she's open and very coachable. So yeah, she's been great.
I thought she was always pretty good on the defensive end in terms of anticipating a pass, jumping the passing lane, and starting the fast break. And on offense, you said it, can stretch the floor a little bit as well. How about the other player that we talked about earlier, Brianna Jones, one of those rocks, leading scorer right now at 13 points per game. You can count on her for 30-plus minutes, and another player who gets it done, I think, both ways.
Yeah, Bree's been great. She has been pretty efficient, and I think that's one of the things we as a coach, you always want to know what you can expect from a player. And for the most part, Bree's been pretty efficient on both ends of the floor. I think she needs to be better in a few areas, and we've had a lot of conversations with that. She needs to be a better leader. She needs to be more positive all the time. But I think for the most part, scoring-wise, she's been pretty consistent. Defense, she's had a few hiccups, but for the most part, she's done what we've asked her to do. She's in the same boat with everyone else. She's trying to learn a lot of new concepts. We're asking her to do a lot of different things. So she's struggled, but I think if she's willing to really work on those things, she'll continue to be an efficient player for us.
What's the biggest surprise? Positive, negative, through a month?
Biggest surprise. I think the consistency in our conference has been a big surprise. I don't think there's a team that we can step on the floor with that I could tell you who's going to win the game. Like, I believe our team's going to win the game, but every team in the conference is very talented.
A lot of parity.
Yeah, a lot of parity. Any team can be beaten on any given day, and that's something that I'm honestly not used to coming from where I came from. In our conference, we knew we were going to win every game and by a certain score for the most part. So it's been a challenge, but it makes every game exciting. It makes every game have drama. So, it's been fun to experience that.
Looking at the schedule, you've already got a couple of road wins, as you mentioned, under your belt at Chestnut Hill, 75-40, a one-sided affair there. You fought tooth and nail at Southern New Hampshire. What was that, last week or
2 weeks?
2 weeks ago now, yeah. And then a win at Assumption in overtime that your team found a way to win. I think that's important, especially in the early months. Learning, yes, but learning also how to win in the fourth quarter.
Oh, absolutely. And just to see the end of the regulation game, if you were there, we had a terrible foul call on one of our players Assumption's player just threw up a shot. We were down by 2, and the referee called a foul, and in my opinion, it wasn't a foul, and put them to the free throw line. So they made 2 free throws to send the game into overtime. Yeah. So for our team to respond to that adversity and fight back for 5 more minutes and win the game was, it was
especially
awesome.
On the road, right?
Yeah.
It is different with playing at home versus on the road. Something like that happens. The crowd is all of a sudden
re-energized.
Right.
The other team's re-energized. So for them to do that in a hostile situation just shows like we have a lot of tough kids on our team. Your
team's been on the road a little bit as well. As I mentioned, the 49th annual ESU Classic. You beat Philadelphia 67-58. Oh, excuse me, they beat you.
Yep.
But that was still a single-digit difference. And then, as we talked about, the big win over Concordia, 74-47. Do those kind of road trips, especially early in the season, bring the team and the coaches together?
I think so. I don't know if this trip necessarily did that. We really struggled in our Philly U game. We did not come out ready to play. In the second half, we finally responded a little bit better, beat them in the second half. But I really thought that was a game we should have gotten. And then the Concordia game, we didn't come back as I would have hoped that we would have after a tough loss. And we struggled through the game. We ended up winning the game. But I think we have a long way to go. And I think our players understand that. And I think they're tough enough that they'll be able to respond from not a great weekend. We went 1-1, but I think they have higher expectations than that, and I'm glad that they do.
Right.
But they're going to come together, and they're going to keep fighting. They're tough kids. They're a veteran group. I know they'll respond the right way, and I'm excited to see them with playing another conference team, playing St. Michael's tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good test for us, and I'm excited to see how they're going to respond to it.
What about that team specifically presents problems?
I think they're really well coached, and I think the team's really embraced their new coach, Shannon Kainach. We actually went to the same college. I didn't play with Shannon, but I know her very well. Known her for years, and she's great energy, and her team's playing with great energy for her right now. So it's been fun to watch them on film.
That's got to be exciting for you as well,
yeah,
right? Kind of a chess match.
Absolutely, yeah. So the Southern Maine Huskies will be battling it out, versus each other during the game. But no, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Her team plays so hard. Defensively, they switch up a lot of defenses. We're going to have to be prepared to execute against zone defenses, a couple different zone defenses. So, no, it'll be a good test for us. But I think our kids are going to respond really well to this past weekend.
What are some keys tomorrow night for a victory?
We got to score the ball in transition. We've got to attack them every opportunity that we can. We need to get to the free throw line, score some easy points. I think we need to control the tempo and keep the tempo up pace when we can. I think our decision making with the ball has to be better than it was this past weekend. We've got to be able to execute, run our stuff, read the defense, and execute our, whatever defense they're playing us. And we've got to control the boards. We really need to check out rebounds so we can run. I think that's going to be really important for us tomorrow.
Well, Coach, I know one thing. You breathed some optimism again into the program, and St. A's fans have a legitimate thing to be thankful for the week after Thanksgiving. I think you're doing a great job, and keep it up tomorrow night.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Right. That's Julie Plant, the head coach of the women's basketball team. 5-4 after 9 games and looking to win 2 in a row tomorrow night when they take on St. Michael's. That is at 5:30. And a reminder, you can watch that game on StAnselmHawks.tv. Live video broadcast for every football, basketball, and hockey game, as well as other select events throughout the year. Well, that is one of them tomorrow night, 5:30, as they look for their 6th victory of the season. Joining me now is senior guard Kierra Moore. Welcome to the program, Kierra.
Thank you.
I imagine you agreed with 100% of everything Coach just said, right?
Absolutely.
That's a good answer. What is the difference, though, between last year and this year?
I think this year our seniors and the returners just came back and just really wanted to win. After coming off the losing season last year, it's really hard, and we took the summer off and we really came back dedicated to have a winning season. So,
what do you think of Coach? In all seriousness, here, any main differences between Coach Plant and the style of things that she does than what you've had in the past?
Well, specifically, our transition has really helped us, I think, and she has stressed that since preseason. We run a lot, and I think that has helped us with our success so far this season.
Do you like to run as well?
Yes.
Does that tailor to your game, so to speak?
Yes, it does. Yes, I do like to get out in the wings and just run. That's really what I like to do.
Kierra Moore joining us here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, one of the senior guards. Seems to me like you're a pretty good defensive player as well. You like that part of the game?
I do. This year, everything has been a little different. Our defensive principles have been a little bit different, but I'm just trying to learn those and get in and try to get some defensive stops when I can. Just really trying to get after it on that defensive side.
What are the differences in the defensive
this year,
strategy?
instead of out and deny, we're in the gaps and kind of like stunt and recover, and just that whole concept is very different for me. I've learned deny since I was younger, so just kind of erasing all that and learning the new ways is just a little different. But I'm learning, and I'm really trying to.
Are you adjusting well?
I think I am. I'm picking it up in practice now. I just have to transition that into the games, so I think that's going to be my next battle.
The next thing to work on.
Yep.
Kierra Moore joining me, one of the seniors on this basketball team, and one of the better shooters as well. You've got some range.
Yep.
You always been a shooter?
Actually, it's funny. In high school, I was not.
Really?
At all. No. It actually started my senior year in AAU going into my senior year. I kind of filled that role as a shooter.
Yeah.
I don't really know how that started, but then I came into college, and that's just kind of been my role, and I've accepted it, and I try to, hit some open shots.
So when did the improvement come? When did you start to become a non-shooter to a pretty good shooter?
My high school coach, that summer made me shoot every single day and just really extended my range, and I think that helped obviously a lot. So.
You are from Albany.
Yep.
And went to the Academy of Holy Names.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been playing basketball? Before you got to high school?
Yep. I started when I was 11 years old, so I guess a little bit later than everyone else. But I started playing AAU when I was 11 for the Albany Capitals. So
Wow.
Yep.
So you played AAU for 5 or 6 years,
Yep.
probably, right?
Mhm.
Good stuff. What brought you here?
Coach Kraft. My coach sent out some tapes. She liked what she saw, and I just kind of came on a whim.
And you liked what you saw
Yep.
upon arrival.
I like the fact that she was trying to change the culture of the team and turn a losing program around, but it didn't really happen. But that's what I was here for, to change the program.
Sure. Well, it can happen this year with Coach Plant.
Absolutely.
So you are a part.
Yep.
What about the area and the campus specifically? Everybody always tells me how gorgeous the campus is. For athletes, that might be a little bit of a factor, but not always. But what have you liked about Saint Anselm over the last 3+ years?
I do love the campus. That was actually one of the main reasons why I came here, because the campus was so beautiful. I just felt at home right away. And the Manchester area is actually a lot like Albany. It's a little bit smaller, but has that city feel, and everything's really close. So it's actually not much different from home.
What are you studying?
I'm studying communications.
Communications?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, you're very well spoken.
Thank you.
Seems like a good field for you. What specifically would you like to do with the degree?
I actually want to work with television production and syndicated television. So, be a creator, director, producer kind of thing.
Nice.
Yep.
What kind of stuff do you do at school?
Right now with
in the department, yeah.
And communications is kind of broad. You take English classes, you have your computer classes, just kind of a broad range of classes that you can choose from to kind of like dip your toes into different areas.
Right. See what you kind of like.
Yep.
Good stuff. 5-4 already. Seems like there's more confidence in the program, and really kind of a night and day difference from a year ago. What would you like to see this team end up in your final year?
I would like to see our team have a winning program, whether it's at 500 or above,
right,
at the top of the league, or just third team in. I would just like to see us be better than what we have been, and I think that's what our main goal has been, just to be better in any aspect of that.
It's worked out pretty well so far.
So far, so good.
No doubt about it. Tomorrow night, St. Mike's. Coach is going up against one of her personal friends.
Oh.
Any additional motivation for the players as a result of that?
There's always been a little bit of a rivalry between our two teams over the last year. Players gotten hurt in this game. I actually knew 2 of the previous players that played for St. Mike's. I grew up playing against them, so
Really?
It's like, kind of a little personal rivalry. So I think everyone's geared up and ready.
So you've
for
had
this
one
game.
circled on the calendar.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. 5:30 tomorrow. Make sure you head over to Stoutenburg Gymnasium. It's going to be a good one, Kierra. Appreciate the time as usual.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. A great time on the Saint A's Coaches Show, and a great player as well, really on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively, averaging about 20 minutes a game and getting the job done from the three-point line, shooting above 45% from the field as well. This is the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. We are live every Tuesday from Davison Hall. We are not, you'll be hearing it later on, 5:30 to 6:30. And, of course, we record from 12 to noon here at Davison. I'm Nick Anastos. Thanks to Julie Plant and Kierra Moore. And the women's team really on the right track. And it's not just wins and losses. It's more than that. There's confidence in the program again, and we'll see. 6-4 with a win tomorrow would be a great start for sure. All right, time for my favorite segment. We're going to recap the week that was and preview the upcoming week as well. There's a lot of action tomorrow night. Let's start with the schedule. The women's basketball team, as I mentioned, will play in game 1 of the men's-women's doubleheader, 5:30 against St. Mike's, and then the basketball team will follow at 7:30. That's at Stoutenburg Gymnasium, and across the street on campus at the Sullivan Arena, it's the men's hockey team. They'll take on Assumption at 7 o'clock. That one should be a good one as well. And all 3 of those games you can hear and watch on St. Anselm Hawks.TV. It's all brought to you by the PAC network. We talked men's basketball in the first half hour of the show. They went 1-0 last week as they defeated Merrimack at home on Tuesday, 79-72. Mike McCahey had a double-double, 12 points, 13 rebounds. That matched a career high. McCahey 4 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 5 at the line. Senior John Nielsen scored a team-high 15 points, 5 of 11 shooting, 4 of 8 from downtown. Senior Dino Malios posted 12 points, 6 boards, and 5 assists as he went 3 of 7 and 6 of 6 from the stripe. Junior Chris Santo, 11 points, 4 for 4 from the floor, including 1 of 1 from deep. And senior Dominic Borelli had 10 points and 5 boards. Junior Mark Schultz, back in the rotation, provided solid minutes off the pine. He had 9 points and drew a pair of charges as well. Women's basketball, they went 1-2 this week. Dropped a 72-67 decision at home against Merrimack, and then split a pair of games on the road at the 49th Annual East Stroudsburg University Pocono Classic. That was over the weekend. The Hawks fell to Philadelphia on Saturday, 67-58, before rebounding with a 74-47 rout of Concordia on Sunday. Senior Tori Lair, who was named to the Pocono Classic All-Tournament team, averaged 12 points and 8 boards, shot 53% from the floor and nearly 88% from the line during the week. Lair posted 12 points, 7 boards against Merrimack, and then had a double-double against Philly with 14 and 13. In just 13 minutes of the win against Concordia, Lair chipped in 7 points and 5 boards. Freshman Candace Andrews tallied 11 points, 5 steals, and nearly 4 assists per game on the week, while shooting 37% from the floor and 67% from the line. Andrews had 14 and 3 steals against Merrimack and had 5 points, 5 steals, 5 assists against Philadelphia. In just 16 minutes against Concordia, Andrews poured in a game-high 14 to go along with the career-high 7 steals and 5 assists, which matched her personal best. Men's ice hockey, they were idle last week, but don't worry, they are back on the ice tomorrow, as I mentioned, against Assumption, and again on Friday, 7:30, when they travel to take on New England College. Women's hockey, they are 8-1 this year after posting a convincing 5-1 win over the University of New England on Monday. Junior Tiffany Heron posted a goal and added an assist. Sophomores Nina Gozzi and Sarah Geisinger also added goals for Saint Anselm. And also scoring for the Hawks were seniors Andy Foss and Courtney Winters. Freshman Hannah Synott made 17 saves and improved to 3-0 on the year with the 1.0 goals against average and a 94% save percentage. So good stuff all around for the winter sports as we move into the month of December. Special thanks to our guests, men's basketball head coach Keith Dickson, sophomore forward Mike McCahey, and on the women's side, head coach Julie Plant and Kierra Moore. Tomorrow, men's and women's doubleheader basketball beginning at 5:30 at Stoutenburg, and over at Sullivan's Arena, the Assumption will come in to take on the men's hockey program at 7 o'clock. I'm Nick Anastos. Special thanks again to Eric Copeland and Mackenzie Frazier, and also to our engineer back at the studio, Tom Rowe. My name is Nick Anastos saying so long. This has been the Saint Anselm Coaches Show right here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com.